What do we got?
Gotta ease people into it.
Okay, thank you. Oh, wow, really? Work session. Good evening, Jerry.
I didn't know. Was.
Read it. Let's see. Oh, yeah.
Jerry. Staff, are you ready? Okay.
Fire Barn Park? Yeah. Tanker turned around in our, and took out one of the two light poles. I wonder, I saw two tankers. Right. Tank farm down North Shore Road. I went, where in the heck they gonna turn around?
Good evening. Welcome to Ferrisburg City Council meeting for Monday, March 16th, 2026. Could we call roll, please?
Sure. Councilmember Montgomery.
Here.
Councilmember Sias.
Here.
Councilmember Murdoch.
Here.
Councilmember Kate.
Here.
Councilmember DeWitt.
Here.
Councilmember Cook.
Here.
Mayor Carlson.
Here. If we could all rise for the invocation by Councilmember Kate, followed by our Pledge of Allegiance.
Gracious God, we thank you for today. We ask your blessings on the night ahead. We ask your special blessings for all the folks who have to be out there working, whether road crews, first responders. We pray for safety on behalf of all, especially the drivers. We pray that people take their time, pay attention to what's around them, so avoid accidents and heartache. We ask your blessings on our evening ahead, and we pray this in your name. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Now is the time for public comments. This time on the agenda is for any citizen to direct brief comments or questions to the City Council. Time for public comments will be given when the agenda item is discussed. If you have a comment or question, please position yourself in line near the wall where the podium is located to ensure visibility and to be recognized. And after being recognized by the mayor, please give your name and your address of residence for the record and proceed with your comment or question. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Yes, sir.
My name is Stan Stirk. I live at 16844 Landing Drive in Vites Landing. I'm here specifically tonight representing Vites Landing, and it's specifically as it relates to item 7C, easement request. Our board was made aware of this request last Wednesday. Several members did review the request with staff, and the board has come to the consensus that at this point we are not interested in signing an easement for $29,000. What is happening with this easement is a request to move the parking south of Smith's Bridge from the west side of the road on Pine Street, which is an area about 50 feet from a house on a 90-foot lot, to the east side, where it would be somewhere between 15 and 18 feet from the nearest condo, and also require the movement of a electric pole, a mainline electric pole, 2 light poles, a fire hydrant, and the way the shading shows on the easement request, possibly affecting the 2 monuments, the entry signs on each side of the driveway on the north entrance to Vites. That happens to be the brick is no longer available We've been looking for it because we need some for interior partitions elsewhere in the complex. From our perspective, it is unnecessary. The fishermen, if you move the parking lot spaces to the east side, the fishermen will still get out of their car in the roadway. You have here, from my perspective, the fishermen probably mostly show up as onesies in a car, so they'll be entering and exiting their vehicles from the roadway, not from the sidewalk or the bike path. What is happening here is you're be creating 5 more parking spaces on east side, moving the bike path over 6 feet, and encroaching on a natural area which has, at this point, at least 2 100-year-old trees. Now, as I remember right, Ferrisburg calls itself a city of trees. And here you're looking quite possibly of taking out 2 100-year-old trees, plus a bunch of other stuff. So I respectfully request that you table item number 7C. And I can unofficially tell you that the board of White's Landing is not willing to sign the temporary easement. There's nothing temporary about it. By the time they move the bike path and they do all the construction and, quote, give us back the land that they scarfed, which the 2 100-year trees are sitting on, that's not temporary. That ends up being permanent. And I also do argue with the appraisal that was done internally, both as to its dating and to the properties that were used for comparables. There are 3 comparables in the neighborhood that lend itself to a much different significant number. We have, if you read the Tribune last Wednesday, the city of, not the city, but this township of Spring Lake is going to spend $1.2 million buying a 1-acre parcel, 2 different parcels, but combined to 1 acre, up north of the Spring Lake Country Club on North Fruitport Road and the Bayou. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Stan.
Your Honor?
Yes.
May I?
Go right ahead.
Stan, you requested, I'm saying, no, here. Yeah. You requested us table this matter this evening. If we do that, we will never reach a resolution to this issue. Are you sure you want us to table this and not discuss it this evening? I mean, that way you're part of the discussion. Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, all right, thank you.
Your Honor.
Thank you. Yes.
Craig, do I know this as a fact that the city can do what they want and take the property if needed, whether they like it or not?
The city does have the option
That's
to
what
do
I
it.
thought, because I have a lift station in the front yard of my house. And I have $1 million+ house, and I have a lift station in the front. Because the city has the right to do what they want. And if it's for the good of Ferrisburg, we'll have a bridge. Yeah, that's what I wanted to know.
Your Honor?
Yes.
Craig, what is the purpose? I guess I'm confused why we have to redesign the entry to Smith's Bridge.
I'll get clarification from MDOT and get back to you on that.
Because my thought is we're replacing the bridge as constructed. We may have to do some modifications to elevation on both ends, but the basic roadway shouldn't have to change, should it?
That's what
Excuse me, yes. Can you?
So I'll check with MDOT and get back to you on that.
Yeah,
If there's an exact reason why they want to switch the parking lot or parking area.
this makes no sense to me. We're moving the parking lot from one side of the road to the other, and then we're gonna screw over White's Landing, go after it. I mean,
We,
to what purpose?
Your Honor, can we hold this discussion until we get to that item on the agenda?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
You, got the same as your email? Got it.
Nicole Larabelle, 16814 Virginia Avenue. I have 3 formal written requests for City Council to review. First request, City Council to direct the city manager to draft the Planning Commission April 2 agenda to have separate zoning districts that are being proposed to be rezoned as separate public hearing agenda items. When this request comes to you, if it's recommended by the Planning Commission, you'll have the opportunity then to, you know, explain or have residents come up with their each zoning district and have their own public hearing at the Planning Commission and have their own time at City Council, instead of having, you know, 3, 4 different districts come up in one rezoning request. If it goes on, they could be tabled. You wouldn't have to approve them all at the same time. You could give each one the time it deserves. Second request, please consider directing city staff to create a 1-page document per zoning district that defines all the current zoning regulations compared to the changes with PUD density. Only telling the changes leaves out half the story. We need to know what property rights we have now compared to after the proposed changes. PUD before and after document, ADU document, special land use document. Third request, please consider directing city staff to update the Planning Commission section of the website with links to the following new documents 15 days prior to the public hearing, and renaming existing documents for clarity. Several residents at the last meeting made comments that they could not find information when they needed it on the city website. Important documents referenced in the Tribune public hearing notice, including the individual public hearing notices themselves, were not uploaded to the city website at least 15 days prior to the public hearing. The documents I've requested is a zoning map draft for April 2, and then the current zoning map so people can figure out what district they're in now and compare it to what district they're going to be in if the proposed changes are adopted. Suggestion for adding the master plan to this page. It's important residents have the access to this public document that was created with their input. All the changes are supposed to be following the master plan. And updating the housing memos to show the topic of discussion and the date they were presented so the public can follow along and review past meetings where their property areas were being discussed. And then in your agenda tonight, you're going to be discussing possibly removing number 12, which is public comment on agenda items. I think it's important that citizens have the right to public comment on agenda items. It's really easy to ignore requests during general public comment, but at least during the agenda item, you know, council can choose to respond or have staff respond if the mayor suggests that. I think it's a very important procedure that we should have that. And then procedure 17 is citizens' requests in writing to council. It says these requests shall be submitted in writing and they will be taken under advisement by city council. They will place them on the agenda for the next meeting. Thank you for your consideration to these requests. I look forward to hearing your discussion at the next city council meeting for this upcoming agenda item. Thank you.
Thank you. Staff, can you make sure that's on the agenda for our next meeting, please?
Yes.
Thank you. Do we have any other public comment for tonight? Seeing none, let's move on. Agenda item number 6, consideration for approval of the consent agenda. 6A, approve the March 2nd, 2026 City Council minutes as printed. 6B, approve the bills memo in the amount of $178,183.28. 6C, approve a request by the Grand Haven Area Public Schools for the city to collect all of the school's 2026 property taxes during the city's 2026 summer tax collection period. And a request by the Ottawa Area Intermediate School District for the city to collect all of the district's 2026 property taxes during the city's 2026 summer tax collection period. And finally, 6D, adopt a resolution approving the ninth lease extension regarding leasing a portion of the premises at 17520 Ridge Avenue to Basketball Basics, and for the mayor and the city clerk to sign all necessary documents.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Support.
Motion and support. Any questions or concerns?
Honor. Amber, the Grand Haven Area Public Schools, that's the same as they've always done?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else have anything? Hearing none, Amber, could you call roll, please?
Councilmember Sias.
Yay.
Councilmember Cook.
Yes.
Councilmember Murdoch.
Yes.
Councilmember Montgomery.
Yes.
Councilmember DeWitt.
Yes.
Councilmember Kate.
Yes.
Mayor Carlson.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Very good. Moving on to new business, agenda item 7A, public hearing, proposed development project at Fire Barn Park.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
could you indicate the opening of the public hearing at what time?
Oh, sure. Let's open the public hearing at 7:18. Correction, at 7:16, Craig. That clock's a little fast.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I asked to have the statement from Corey Phillips entered into the minutes on this matter.
Okay. Everyone received a copy of that on their dais.
Concern is the pickleball courts are too close to his house and concerned about the noise.
Sure. William, did you want to fill us in on this a little bit, please?
Yeah, so this is for phase 2 of Fire Barn Park. So we presented a 3-phase plan to council and the public. How many years ago, Craig? 5 years ago?
5, 6 years we started doing the equipment.
Yeah. So as you know, we had the not so exciting piece first of getting, the infrastructure, lighting, parking lots and bike path as a safety feature that the fire department recommended. Now we're on to phase 2, which is updating the pickleball courts as well as adding a pavilion and some connecting paths. So all these were pretty high demand items when we first started discussing upgrading Fire Barn Park. There's a large pickleball community in Ferrysburg, in Tri-Cities in general. So they came early on and asked us to convert the tennis courts to pickleball. We originally discussed installing lighting. Craig, I don't believe we're going with that right now.
Everything except the splash pad, yes.
Oh, great. So it gives the community an additional 6, correct, pickleball courts?
Yes, correct.
They'll all be ADA compliant, accessible. Certainly if there are, concerns from neighbors, I can't imagine this would be louder than what the, tennis courts were when they were in use. But we can certainly look at some fencing options, sound barrier, something along those lines.
How about the financing of this?
So, Mr. Mayor, this is a public hearing. We should take public comments at this time. If not, we could close the public hearing and move on to 7B.
Okay. Do we have any public comments regarding this? Seeing none, we can close the public hearing. 7:19, Craig. Moving on to agenda item 7B, discussion and take action if appropriate to approve a resolution approving the submittal of a Land and Water Conservation Fund, LWCF grant application for the development of the new ADA universal accessible facilities, including 6 new pickleball courts, replacing the previous tennis courts, a new picnic pavilion with picnic tables, connecting concrete walkways, and interpretive signage for natural features.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution.
Okay. Support for that?
Your
For
Honor,
discussion? Yes.
I had a question about the financing.
Can we get a second so we can discuss this?
I'll support.
I had a question about the financing. Are we short funds?
I'm sorry.
Are we short funds for this project?
So there has been no funds budgeted for this project at this time. If city council moves forward with this project, we'll have to set aside some funds for the local match. This grant requires a 50% match. The cost estimate came in, and I think it was distributed to city council about $710,000. So the city's portion of that is 50% or $355,000 roughly in that area. So city council will have to set that, make sure that money's available if the grant's successful, that this project moves forward. That's what this resolution indicates today, that when we send it to the state, that if the grant is successful, the project will move forward and the city will have $355,000 budgeted for the project.
And Craig, we would have to set that aside for the 27-28 budget?
So the city would probably be notified in December of '26, and probably be awarded the appropriation process sometime in May of '27. And so it would probably start in the fiscal year 27-28 at the earliest.
But we wouldn't include it in this budget.
Okay, so where would you propose that we get $350,000?
So that would have to come out of the Public Improvement Fund. That's the fund we use for improvements in the city, the Fire Barn Park parking lot, a kayak launch, for street repairs.
Craig, at the rec commission meeting, we talked about some of these line items, and they seemed to be significantly higher than what we paid even for the pickleball courts or at Postcard.
That's correct. Yes. So the Recreation Commission, when they saw the cost estimate, they asked if we go back to the architect and ask them if there was different options to lower the cost. The concern with the architect and the engineer is that if we overcover the existing cracks that are on the tennis court, that eventually they're going to come through the new surface, and it's not going to last as long. So they're recommending that it be pre-stressed concrete for the courts.
But I think we recognize that even like the installation at Postcard Park was significantly less expensive than what they're pulling. And that was a full tear out with new concrete.
That's correct. The price she quoted is what she's estimating the cost.
So I just want to be clear, the estimate of what the engineer is estimating for this project is significantly more than what we in reality paid when we did Coast Guard Park last year, earlier this year, last year? I guess it was last year. So I wouldn't expect it to go as high as what it's estimated.
Everything's gone up.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Everything.
is pretty significant.
Yeah, and I have to take the word of the engineer over, your hunch, well, this is.
I'm basing on what we actually paid.
I know, I understand that, but yeah,
You're saying that the engineer is liberal with his amounts, covering himself, correct?
That's correct.
Still a lot of money, even if $100,000 less.
Yeah, it's been my experience, these run over budget generally. I mean,
Agreed.
Craig, have any of our rec commission projects over the past couple years run over budget?
The Fire Barn Park Phase One was pretty close to what we anticipated, $350,000.
Yep.
yeah, I'm just saying in general, I'm just saying, development generally, you just never know what you're gonna run into until you start tearing up concrete.
What fund are you talking about allocating this from?
The Public Improvement Fund,
And that would include street repairs as well.
funds in there used for street repair, correct?
I have some comments and questions. My first comment or question is, we mentioned we're on the second phase. How many phases of this project are anticipated?
3 phases.
Do we know how much phase 3 will cost?
No, I don't know that we have a total number, do we, Craig? It's old if we do.
No, I don't recall the dollar amount. Go ahead.
What is the scope of phase 3?
Phase 3 was an additional pavilion and a splash pad. I think that was all that was left, isn't it?
That's correct.
And phase 2, the scope is, and I've looked at the drawings, it's mostly limited to the pickleball court, is that?
Yeah, there's a path that'll be installed, a pickleball court, and then a pavilion.
There are other pickleball courts at city parks, correct? I could play pickleball at Coast Guard Park. Are there any tennis courts in good condition at city parks?
Yeah, we have a tennis court at Coast Guard Park. That's brand new.
Okay. I've been hearing from citizens that they would much rather have the water park than another pickleball court. This may offend some people. I think pickleball is kind of a fad. I don't know if we spend $350,000 for a match, whether people are still going to want to play pickleball in 10 years. It's another comment. The email that we got opposing the project states that the proposed pickleball court will be close to their house and that they're concerned about hearing the noise of players all day and all night. How late is the park open?
I think parks close at 10.
10 o'clock. 10 o'clock.
What time does the park open?
8 a.m.
Okay, so the statement of being all day and all night, they could just call the cops if it's before or after hours. Bear with me a minute. So the other comment I had was the council agenda had the paperwork. It stated that there was a budget for phase 2 in it, but when I looked through the packet, I only found budgetary figures for phase 1. So I'm concerned that perhaps the phase 2 costs were not included in any public disclosure. Unless I'm looking in the wrong place. So I'll go through the pages a second. So this is mentioned starting on the electronic packet. It starts on page, what is this? It starts first with a memo from staff, and the memo itself mentions that there is a proposed budget for phase 2 included. And when you go to the next page, there's a resolution authorizing the grant submittal. That resolution includes, it looks like a budget match of 50%. You keep scrolling down, and then there's an Excel sheet labeled phase 1, and it has past dates. It has engineering and construction costs, a $311,249 net. And then if you keep going, there's a document that shows kind of an outline of the park. and then it goes on to the next agenda item. So one of my concerns is if we're not including the cost to the public in the detail, I don't know whether the public hearing was useful tonight. I saw it because it was in an email to council members, but just looking at the public information, I couldn't find it in there. It's the end of my questions and comments.
Your Honor, yes. Do we have any numbers on phase 3, the splash pad? Have we looked into that yet, or we haven't?
We don't have a cost estimate for that yet.
We discussed it at our last rec meeting. We asked, we're gonna look into a couple neighboring communities. Obviously, a quote isn't gonna do us any good right now. It's pretty far out, but we're gonna talk to several neighboring communities that have splash pads and get a better understanding of the maintenance cost and the impact on DP water. And so we're working on that now.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it, plumbing and yearly maintenance, the winterizing it.
I have a question. Yeah. They say that they're using the existing tennis courts and just redoing them into a pickleball court. So why would that make? And Corey's sound in being next to it. If it's already a tennis court, it's the same footprint, correct?
My assumption is these courts just aren't.
I don't think they're usable. Kind of a wreck.
I'll see kids playing out there sometimes, but as far as tennis, I think there's cracks.
I'm with Jerry. I'd like to see it.
That's Dave, actually.
Dave,
Yeah,
I'm with Dave.
Don't give
Yeah,
me a credit.
we'd certainly like to. I think it's considerably more expensive. And we need to have a better idea of the maintenance impact. Now that several other communities in the area have had a splash pad for a decent amount of time and have a better understanding of what we're getting into. The rec commission is fully on board with a fire theme splash pad. I think that'd be pretty.
Connor?
Yes.
Craig, what do we spend a year on parks now on the budgeted amount?
In the general fund, just for upkeep, probably 250,000.
How much?
250,000.
That's just for maintenance though, right? Like
That's correct.
Lawn mowing and fixing stuff.
Water,
Go ahead.
that's for water, fertilizer, labor out there to take care of the parks.
Yeah, and I question personally whether we should take $300 and some thousand out of the general fund when we could be putting that towards streets or other things. A suggestion that I thought of on the way over today is perhaps we could put on the ballot a parks millage and fund it that way as opposed to taking it out of general fund. I don't know if it passed or not, but it would be, then the people vote. They say, hey, we want it or we don't. I think it's kind of, we have pickleball courts at Coast Guard Park. To Mr. Cook's statement, I don't know if this is a passing fad or if it's going to be, just like tennis. Years ago, tennis was the big thing. Now it's pickleball. There are plenty of pickleball courts in the area other than just Perrysburg. How many different courts you play on? Mr. Cook?
I don't play pickleball, I play tennis.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said you played pickleball. I mean, Grand Haven Township's got a bunch, City of Grand Haven, Spring Lake. I guess I question whether we should spend, over $250,000 to put pickleball courts in when we have other needs that perhaps should supersede that.
Would you have suggestions on what you use that section of the park for? Because it's kind of a blight, right?
Well, right now we have tennis courts that are basically unusable, correct? Or what if we were just to take them out and leave it as a grass field at this point until in the future, if we propose a recreation millage, or at this point, you could just leave them. I mean, they're unusable, apparently. So why do we have to do anything with it? I understand that, you know, it would be nice to have a pie in the sky park, but I'm not sure that's the most responsible way to spend the city's money.
Craig, voting tonight, we're just voting on the proposal to send in, so we still need to approve this in the budget this time next year.
That's correct.
So if we approve this tonight, we can go for a millage or do whatever we want and still vote this down next year when we vote on the budget.
If you vote this resolution, you're indicating that there will be funds available to do the project.
But we can turn down the grant. Right?
We could, but we probably don't want to do that unless it was necessary.
Well, if we, Your Honor, if we do that, that would probably preclude us from getting other grants in the future.
Sure. Yep.
So my understanding of the resolution is we're making a resolution to apply for the grant and commit $300-some-odd-thousand to this project. Am I wrong in that, Craig?
You're correct.
Craig, based on the prioritization list that you and Matt put together for street maintenance and road upgrades, do you feel that we'll have this money available in our budget without?
So part of that answer is if the street millage gets renewed or not.
When is the last day we can vote on this, Craig?
The grant application is due April 1st.
Last day. Okay.
Can we submit the grant application without noting our commitment to a match, or is that a requirement?
Maybe it's a
Can we ask for the grant, commit to a match, and change our mind on the scope of what we're going to do? Or are we locked into what we've proposed as phase 2 as part of the grant application?
We can make amendments to the grant application sometime in August.
So we could go from 6 pickleballs to 3 pickleball courts?
Well,
We could
I
adjust.
think the area that the number of pickleballs is designed to go where the tennis courts is now, so I'm not sure if there's going to be a lot of cost savings if you went down from 6 to 3.
Your Honor?
yes.
Just so I get this straight in my head, if we vote on this tonight and approve it, we are committed to $300-and-some-odd-thousand, correct?
If we're selected for the grant.
If we're successful.
That's correct.
Thank you.
And it's still a pretty up-road hope for us to get this grant. I mean, we're more hopeful on this than we were at the DNR.
Yes, correct.
Could I ask another question? Is it possible to submit this grant and then get some other funding through a grant to be our match dollars? Or are we required to have community matching funds?
Well, Craig, so we used like fundraising money last time, and Craig, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe if we get another grant that's not contingent, like from the community foundation, we could use that for our matching.
That's correct.
So, and I know the community foundation just made a major grant. Spring Lake Township. So yeah, I mean that's certainly an option, especially now that it's a couple years out.
So the question was asked, where's the funds gonna come from? This is part of the budget presentation, and then this is the Public Improvement Fund. And it'd be easier if I just point. All public. So on the top line, the yellow, the $2 million is what we actually have as the fund balance at June 30th, 2025. That $2 million, we got 400,000 set aside reserved for the Smiths for bridge work. And so for 25, 26, we have some items that we're gonna get some revenue. We spent some funds on the Tri-States Connector Path, the bridge fund. And so we're estimating that at the end of June 30, 2026, we'll have $2.7 million. Subtract the 450,000, another 50,000 for the bridge, we're back $2.3 million. Next year, 2026, 27, we'll get some road millage. This will be the last year we're gonna collect it. We got planned for $1 million worth of local streets. We'll get some revenue from the Ottawa County road millage, expenses for Pine Street and 174th Avenue. It brings our fund balance down, estimated at June 30th of 2027, $664,000. We had another $50,000 to the reserve for the bridge, and we'll come down to $264,000. So then in 27, 28, we get some money. We'll spend some more money on local streets, Ottawa County road millage, and here we have, when we put this together, we thought the cost was going to be $250,000. So it brings our anticipated fund balance down to $300,000. We add another $50,000 to the bridge. We're in the hole about $230,000. Next slide, please. This is if the street millage passes. We run through the same scenarios. We get down here where we were in the hole before, and now we have a surplus. We're doing the same thing. We'll have to change that number there. And then we still have a surplus at the end of 28-29 doing some local streets.
So it's contingent on the street.
Yes.
I just think there's, what we've done in the past is we have a street project, we would tag on like one block of, say, Virginia or whatever street as an add-on to get our money going further. That we've done that several times in the past, correct, Craig?
That's correct.
Where we have a bad block of a street or something, rather than do the whole street, we've added on. Spending this money for the park, I'm not sure that that allows us the ability to do that going forward, because budget's gonna be tight. We have a road millage which expires a couple of years. I think, yeah, that's where I'm at on this.
We have a motion and support on this. Anyone else have anything to add?
Yeah, I just want to point out,
Yeah.
from the rec commission's perspective, part of the reason we're moving forward with this is to show our residents progress. We, in fundraising efforts to build this park, and this was part of the proposal, and so far, all we've given is if we approve this, the best case scenario, say the stars align and we get the grant, we'd be building phase 2 in 28, right?
Most likely, yes.
So it's still a long ways out, but at least applying shows our residents that their money is still being used for what we originally told them it's being used for, and the city is moving forward.
Your Honor. Well, when we were originally discussing this park project, all the phases, the park commission was warned on taking donations from residents for a park that we didn't have the funding or the grant approval for yet. Because if we didn't get that approval, we'd be left with holding residents' monies without anything to spend it on.
Well,
So phase one, you use that excuse to push through phase one because we were sitting on all this donated money and we need to use it up to show the residents that we were using their money properly. And now you're coming back to that same excuse again. That money was used on phase one. There is no more donated money sitting around to go into this park.
Yeah, I guess I'll point out that the rec commission did ask to save that money to use towards our grant match for phase two, and council decided it was better transfer to use towards first phase of Fire Barn Park, which we already had covered.
But my point is, we should have never taken those donations until we had the funding.
I believe, Jerry, that council actually encouraged us to fundraise, similar to what they did for Tanglefoot Park when we started this journey, because at that time, you didn't want to commit the money either. I think fundraising continues to be the right answer to allow our residents to make donations. I think that is a very regular and normal thing that municipalities do for parks. I would argue that the majority of parks around the Tri-Cities have had some sort of fundraising that helped pay for them. Well, certainly not all of the cost, because parks can be and are so expensive nowadays. But I think it'd be silly not to ask.
I agree with you 100% on fundraising, Will. As a matter of fact, that's why I recommended we do a fundraiser for the equipment in Ferry Park. But I got a lot of pushback from that, and it just came out of the general fund. So now you're kind of talking from both sides here. You know, then fundraising wasn't important because we had to do this right away, and we had to get that piece of equipment right away. And we're still sitting on the piece of equipment that we could have raised funds for and bought this spring, because it hasn't been installed yet because it was too late in the year. So we had all winter to raise funds for that piece of equipment. Instead, city council chose to throw money at it. And now you want us to throw more money in the parks, more and more. And it's getting to the point to where, I mean, we're facing a deficit if the road millage doesn't go through, and you're still asking us to promote or commit $355,000 to this project. And it's nothing against the Parks Department. I think you guys are doing an outstanding job, and I think you have foresight into what you plan on doing in the future. It's just a matter of, can we fund it practically or not?
Yeah.
You know, and
I certainly wouldn't ever recommend that we go into a deficit, Jerry. But I think at this point, we would need a lot to align for us to get this grant. But it's a guaranteed no if we don't apply for it. I think there are, you know, it's not ideal to turn down a grant later in the year. You know, if it is approved, we can certainly change the scope later on if the millage doesn't pass. But yeah, we're already looking at you know, 2 years away. Delaying this another year, another 2 years puts us into 2030.
I think that's what council is vacillating over is, yeah, we'd like to make improvements to the park. That's been the plan, but we don't want to put ourselves in a huge pinch. And what are the off-ramps if the millage does not pass for streets?
Can you walk us through that, Craig?
Local streets, there wouldn't be as much local streets being done, street repairs.
Sure, but what off-ramps do we have if we approve this resolution tonight?
To decline their grant or reduce the scope to whatever city council for. We're saying right now, we're gonna have $350,000 ready in the budget if this grant's successful.
In next year's budget, not this year's budget.
Correct. 27, 28 probably.
John, has the rec commission looked at doing the splash pads, and rather than doing, I just don't see $350,000 of our money going into pickleball courts. But I would support if they're gonna do a splash pad type thing, and you know, this just seems.
I think splash pad will be double or triple that.
Of the 300,000? Have we gotten any numbers on that?
I think we got numbers 5 years ago, Craig?
If, I don't recall what they were.
Well, I mean, that would be part of it that I would be willing to support, but, pickleball courts for $700 and some thousand, I just don't, I just can't support that.
Could I ask some more questions? One comment, the park looks great, so I don't think that we wasted the money for phase one. The parking lot is great compared to what was there. The play equipment is awesome. Every time we drive by, my kids are like, can we stop? Can we play there? What we saw in the budget presentation was a deficit just in one particular fund. Are there other funds that could potentially be tapped to pay for it if we were successful in getting the grant funds?
The general fund.
What would that scenario look like in terms of next year, the year after, and the year after that?
It would be a drawdown on the fund balance that's in there now.
Would we be in the negative in 3 years?
No.
How
Not-
much money
not
would we have
anticipated
left
to.
over?
I'm sorry?
How much would we have left over if we spent $350,000 next year?
Right now, the fund balance, I think, is around $1.5 million.
In addition to the general fund and the other fund you spoke of, I forgot the name, I apologize. But are there any other funds that we could tap? One of my concerns is leaving free money on the table doesn't always make sense, but it's the chicken or the egg. We have to put the grant application forward to find out if we win. I don't like turning down a grant, but at that point, we would know if the road millage was successful or not. I don't necessarily like the scope of phase two, but from the discussion tonight, it sounds like we could amend that and do some really good things with the park.
And this is also, you know, to your point earlier, Dave, we can certainly approach the community foundation and other residents and nonprofits and see what kind of fundraising we can get. I'm sure it wouldn't cover the full 350, but I would imagine we could chip away at it.
Again, well, I warn you of taking funds before the grant would be approved.
Anyone else have anything? Go ahead and call the roll, Amber.
Councilmember Cook?
Yes.
Councilmember Murdoch?
No.
Councilmember Montgomery?
Yes.
Councilmember DeWitt?
No.
Councilmember Kate?
No.
Councilmember Sias?
No?
Mayor Carlson?
Yes.
Motion failed.
Very good. Moving on to agenda item 7C, discussion to take action of a
Motion failed.
motion.
Failed.
Motion failed.
Oh, I thought you said motion passed.
Can I make an amended motion?
Mr. Parliamentarian?
Yes.
Yes, Imani?
I'd like to make a motion to move forward with the grant application and commit the funding if the road millage is approved at whatever rate we're proposing.
That's something we're able to do, Craig, because the grant has to be in by April 1st.
That's being by April 1st. So the motion would be to approve the submitting the grant application.
Deny the grant application if approved and the road millage is not approved.
Can we do that?
Yeah, you can deny the,
We can make that motion, but I'm not sure that, grant people
Committee.
we're applying for is gonna accept that as a condition. If we get approval, we're committed to it, correct?
Well, we won't know about approval till, what, February?
no, we'll know by December, first week in December usually.
But if we apply for the grant, we're committed, if it's approved, $300 and some odd thousand, correct?
That's correct.
If the road millage is approved, then yes. If not, we'll deny the grant.
So based on Mr. Cook's proposal, would that mean we just withdraw our grant application
If we,
doesn't go through?
if we were awarded it, we would decline the grant.
What would that do for future grant applications? If we refuse a grant, how would that look?
There might be a concern that if we got awarded another grant, that we're just gonna deny it or decline it.
Why would they waste their time if at the last minute we just, oh, no, our millage didn't pass, so we don't want it anymore? Other grants in the future are gonna look at that as negative.
Yeah, I can only speculate right this.
Yeah, my opinion.
Your Honor? There was a motion made and voted on.
I'll second Mr. Cook's motion. That's something we're able to do.
I'd like to maybe try to scale this down, Will, and not need that much money. You could scale the whole thing back a little bit. I think you'd get support.
Yeah.
But they can't, they need to answer now. That's the problem. It's always now.
We have tried scaling this. I mean, we've scaled this back about as much as we could for this phase. We're only doing the pickleball courts and one of the two.
Can I ask a question? If we get the road millage and we get the grant, can we accept the grant up into a certain amount, less than $350,000, and just state this is what we can afford at the time? Or is it an all or nothing proposition?
It's a 50-50 match.
So whatever we accept, we have to provide 50%. So to your point,
Yeah.
Can we come back and say we only want 300? I believe we can, correct?
I don't know the answer to that for sure.
I think we would be willing to support this if it was less money.
Yeah. Well, to Jerry's point earlier, it's not going to get cheaper.
I want beautiful parks like anybody else. I think it adds to our character as a community, and I think it brings in young families, and I think it adds a vibrancy to our city. I think the Parks Department is an important department that benefits the city in enormous ways, but we got to live within our bounds here. We're trying to, well, we'll do this, we'll do that. In this case, we'll do this, we'll do that. We're just trying too much here, and it's just bad timing right now. If this had been scaled back, if we had another time to review it and amend it, then maybe we could work with the Parks Department. But the fact that we need to make a decision on this tonight, just kind of, it rubs me the wrong way, personally.
Is there something in the scope that you feel could be cut back, Jerry?
Well, personally, I would like to see it turned back into green space, personally. I know it is a blight factor. I know that the concrete's cracked, the fencing looks old and run down. I just think it should be turned back to green space. There's no reason why we have to develop it.
So there's a motion with support on the floor. Anyone else have anything to add?
New fencing and a pavilion, maybe. Scrap the pickle.
Anyone else? Hearing none. Amber, you want to read that motion back to us?
Sure, I do not have it verbatim, so if you want anything edited while we do this. So discussion to take action, if appropriate, to approve a resolution approving the submittal of a Land and Water Conservation Fund grant application for the development of a new ADA universal accessible facilities, including 6 new pickleball courts, replacing the previous tennis courts, a new picnic pavilion with picnic tables, connecting concrete walkways, and interpretive signage for natural features. Moving forward would depend on the approval of a grant application and the approval of the street millage at the November 2026 election.
Any further discussion, go ahead and call roll.
Councilmember Murdoch. Councilmember Montgomery.
Yes.
Councilmember DeWitt.
No.
Councilmember Kate.
No.
Councilmember Sias.
No.
Councilmember Cook.
Yes.
Mayor Carlson.
Yes.
Motion failed.
Very good. Moving on to 7C, discussion and take action if appropriate to approve providing compensation to Veets condominiums for a grading permit for the construction of Smith's Bridge.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I think we should table this until Craig gets back to us on, redesign or why this is even necessary. Now, who put this forward? Was it MDOT or the civil engineer? I mean, enlighten us a little here.
Yeah, MDOT, this is a design bridge through MDOT Bridge Building Program. They've been working on design engineering for a couple of years. Earlier this year, first part of January, they notified the city that they needed 2 grading easements, one on the south side and one on the north side. And there's a number of specific steps that MDOT requires when obtaining easements from the private sector. Once we got all our ducks in a row, we met with the Veets Landing people and the property owner on the north side. Today we heard some comments and concerns from the property owners on the south side. We can look into that and try to get some clarification and bring that back to City Council.
Yeah, I would like definite clarification on this, because Veets Landing is dead set against it, so then we're gonna have to do a eminent domain, and it's gonna turn into a pissing match and blah, 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 you know.
I'll make a motion to table it.
Support.
Can we ask Mr. Stirk some more questions?
I think Mr. Stirk would be more than happy to answer some questions.
Would you mind?
Supposed to, now that we have a motion.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
That's correct.
I think that moot point until we find out if it's required or not.
Agreed. Agreed.
Mr. Sturk met with the mayor and myself today, so I think we have a pretty good idea what he's looking for.
Any other discussion?
There is
No discussion.
Councilmember Montgomery.
Yes.
Councilmember DeWitt.
Yes.
Councilmember Kate.
Yes.
Councilmember Sias.
Yes.
Councilmember Cook.
Yes.
Councilmember Murdoch.
Yes.
Mayor Carlson.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Very good. Moving on to 7D, discussion to take action if appropriate to approve providing compensation to Adam Wirtz for a grading permit for the construction of Smith's Bridge.
Your Honor.
Yes.
So we met with the property owner on the north side of the bridge last week. Over the weekend, he did send a list of questions to staff to answer. We did respond to him early this morning. I have not heard back from him on what, if he had any further concerns, so at this time, I would suggest we table this as well.
I'll make that motion to table.
Support.
Amber?
Councilmember DeWitt.
Yes.
Councilmember Kate.
Yes.
Councilmember Sias.
Yes.
Councilmember Cook.
Yes.
Councilmember Murdoch.
Yes.
Councilmember Montgomery.
Yes.
Mayor Carlson.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Moving on to 7E, work session, city council procedures. Staff, do you want to start this off?
Yeah, in your packet was a copy of the city council procedures. Those have been approved back years ago. Over the last couple of years, there have been some revisions to it. There's a suggested revision in your packet today. It talks about when items are submitted by the city council of when they're due. And so we're suggesting they be due by 5 p.m. on Wednesday. We typically put the council out, or council packet out, agenda early Thursday morning by noon. So we can keep doing that and have something dropped off here at City Hall on Wednesday at 5 o'clock, as long as there's enough material to support the item that's going to be discussed by City Council.
Yes. Thank you.
thought he had something else
Thank
to
you.
say.
Okay.
There's also been some discussion during some previous city council meetings of the length and amount of public comments that are coming during agenda items. Currently, we have 2 times when the public can comment before the agenda items are discussed and after the agenda items are discussed.
So the two things that we're talking about potentially changing or placing items on the agenda,
Correct.
which is coming from City Hall, and then public comment for agenda items, because we already give the public comments before the meeting and after the meeting.
Correct.
But during the meeting, we're saying that maybe we shouldn't allow public comment. That's the meeting of just the 7 city council members.
That's correct. There's some discussion by city council members that once they have a discussion between themselves, they'd like to keep it that way and have public comments before the meeting, so when they discuss something, they can concentrate on what each council member is saying.
Anyone have any thoughts or comments regarding any of this?
Your Honor,
Yes.
I can't remember how long ago I did this, but it hasn't been too long. I did a survey of the communities and municipalities around us, and we are far in the minority as far as offering public comments at both the beginning and the end. Almost nobody else does it. If we're going to cut anything out, I would rather cut the closing public comments. I think it's fine to have people make their comments during the business, you know, if they want to address something that we're talking about, and the open public comments are fine. I don't see where the closing public comments add any purpose.
How about public comments during agenda items?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember what this said. I was specifically looking at opening and closing almost.
Okay. My thoughts on it is that once we reach the meeting portion, that's a meeting for the 7 of us. Okay?
Works for me.
And when we have public comments for agenda items, do you have them set the pace and have the first bite of the apple? Do you let them have the closing statement in public comments?
I agree. I didn't look at that portion.
It's
Yeah.
problematic, and the public has ample opportunity for public comment in other spots in the meeting. So I'm a big proponent of not having public comments for agenda during the meeting.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I think realistically, how often does that happen? On occasion, we get hammered with 10, 15 people. I think it would be construed by the citizens to look that we're trying to limit their participation in city government. 99% of the time, there ain't nobody here but 1 or 2 people, and it's not an issue. Every once in a while, we get a hot button issue that we get 10 or 15 comments on an agenda item. I see that personally, I see it as a way to restrict citizen participation in the process.
Well, I do see some public bodies, like Bill said, he surveyed some of the local municipalities in the area. Some of them offer public comment at the beginning. Some offer public comment after the whole dance is done. So you have no voice until things have already been decided, and I don't think that's right to have it at the end of the meeting for that. I don't know of any of them that would allow it in the middle of the meeting. In other words, for agenda items. I think that, and I don't, once again, this is just a work session just for us to discuss it, and we can certainly investigate what other bodies allow public comment during agenda items.
Your Honor.
Yes.
Yes, I would agree with both councilmen. I could see us removing the closing comments, but I think removing public comment from the agenda items, while probably not common, it's a right that now we're taking away, and it just it's a bad look. Council that wants to promote, openness with the community, I think it allows them a chance for each agenda item to give us their views. Like Councilman DeWitt said, it's very few and far between. It's certainly not a hill. And, you know, to that point, restricting public comments, I don't think would stop council members from reading in the record emails from residents. And so I'm not sure it's going to save us any time in the long run.
Your Honor?
Yes.
I agree with Will. I think it's a bad look, and I promote public participation in our meetings. I think it's crucial to listen to the public and get an understanding of where they're coming from. After all, we are here to serve them. Generally, it's not an issue with our meetings. I don't remember ever staying through a long meeting because of public comments the whole time I served. When I first was elected to council, we would only allow public comments at the beginning of the meeting. We didn't even allow them at the end of the meeting. Then that changed, and now I don't know when we got the procedure of allowing people to speak during agenda items, but I welcome it. I don't think we should turn back.
Anyone else have anything to add?
I have a couple things. My first comment is the procedures as written really aren't followed. That's been my experience reading over them. We don't follow them en masse. Number 17 states that the city council will place citizen requests on the next regular meeting. This contradicts the first section that states placing items on the agenda is done by the city manager. So one of my questions is, how does council place things on the agenda when we're not in control of it? Public comments are my favorite parts of the meeting. I've been ripped in public comments and I don't mind that. I think having ample public comments is great. One thing I might want to clarify is I feel like a lot of the public commenters will use their time to speak to staff or our attorney, and I don't think that's the best use of the public comment time. I do like how the procedures state to direct the comments to the mayor, and then you can decide whether council people or staff will interact with the commenter. That's my only comment. I do agree with that sentiment, but I don't agree with limiting the availability of public comments.
Very good. Anyone else have anything? Seeing none, let's move on.
Excuse me, Your Honor, do
Yes.
you have any changes to that, time limit during public comments for agenda items?
Right now, it's unlimited time, is it not?
Well, I'm not sure that is. It's really not defined in the procedures.
I think it should be 3 minutes, just like, right now, it's not, I would interpret to mean public comments at any point in the meeting are limited to 3 minutes. But if we want to define that in the procedure, we probably should.
I think it should be, yes.
Let's define that.
Your Honor.
Respectfully cutting people.
Well,
Ignore us.
we can put a 3-minute limit on there, but it's always the discretion of the city council or the mayor to let them extend if.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
We've had several instances in the past year or two where people ignore, well, we've had several instances where people ignore the 3
Right.
talking.
But yeah, it's one thing if they're just chewing on us, or if they have a legitimate concern in there. Because in 3 minutes, I don't know how technical stuff you can on, and then I would be in favor of 3 minutes, but on the other hand, I think we could allow it to continue if it's pertinent. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So maybe just put it at the, ability to extend past 3 minutes with the mayor's discretion.
That would make the most sense to me.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Seeing none, let's move on to 7F, work session, proposed city budget.
This is just to take a first bite of the city budget that we're working on for 26, 27. Here, the first slide here, we see that The state revenue is going to be reduced to about $7,300 over this current fiscal year, about 2.2%. This is the capital improvement plan. We're expecting to, this is what the Public Works and the fire department put together for their needs in the future. The top lines are the pumper replacement. It's going to be cost around $650,000. The fire chief indicated, and when he was doing his capital improvement plan, that the aerial truck anticipates that lasting until 2040. So that's something we're going to have to look at to start to figure out how we're going to fund that. The Public Works Department, they're looking for a stand-on leaf blower. They like to use that when they're picking up leaves. They tried it out, run it one this last fall. Worked out well for them and it helped efficiency. And then they want to get a new salt spreader for just to have a spare in case one of the current ones breaks down, that they can stow salt and sand the roads. And then the 2015 dump truck, they're looking to replace that next year. And the brush chipper, which is about 25 years old, they want to replace that in the next fiscal year as well. This is the motorized equipment. In 6/30/2025, we had actual about $600,000. We're gonna get some revenue. We're gonna replace the pumpers. So at the June 26th, we're not really buying anything this year. So the fund balance is anticipated to be $717,000. And then in 27/28, we'll replace the dump truck and the brush chipper. And that brings us down to the $6,300. The fire department is looking to have a pickup. Currently, they use the fire chief's pickup truck when they're out on a call or something and they have frozen hoses and they can't get back on the truck. He has his old pickup truck that he uses. So perhaps someday when the Public Works Department gets a new dump truck, we can transfer the older dump truck to the fire department. So basically what you see here is pretty lean. Whatever's coming in is going out just to keep the city running with the current vehicles.
Your Honor?
Yes.
Craig, have we locked in the price on that fire truck
Yes, we have.
and we put a down payment on it?
No, we'll make the first payment when the chassis is delivered. The fire chief expecting that sometime by the end of the year. That's $165,000.
By prepaying, we're getting a discount, correct? Or paying as we go along?
Correct. Wherever the contract said, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Here's some general fund items that the city is looking at for 26/27. We're doing some miscellaneous improvements in the office. We want to do some improvements here at City Hall, doors, windows, whatever we need. Computers are over 4 years old. We want to replace those. And then IT services that we use for Ottawa County. Fire department, they've got a budget of breakdown of $31,000. And then we got the $50,000 to do some work on the shingles or the roof at the pavilion at Coast Guard Park. And then that money that we had kind of penciled in for the phase 2. And then you see the next 5 years out, there's really nothing major out there, just typical maintenance and upgrades to the City Hall building. The fire department equipment budget, that changes every year. We just put a number in there to keep a line item, to hold a placeholder for that. The year before was $41,500. I'm not sure the fire chief is going to spend all that. In that $41,000 was $23,000 for an automatic CPR machine. Just recently, the fire chief spoke to me and he's talked to the fire chief for Spring Lake Township. They recently purchased one and it's going to be stationed at the fire station at 174th Avenue. Our fire chief asked their fire chief if we could use that if it was a need. The Spring Lake Township fire chief indicated yes, if they weren't using it, we could use it, call for it. These are the streets that this Public Works Department supervisor has put together. 168th Avenue is done. We're doing the design engineering work for 174th Avenue. We're doing design work for Pine Street. The next one, the street that is on the docket to be replaced is West Spring Lake Road, and that's by 2030. And then he has a number of streets that need to be replaced based on the PASA rating. And these are all major streets. These are streets that we're eligible to get MPO funds for. So typically we're on a 3-year rotation to get funds through the MPO. We're getting funds for the 174th Avenue in 2027. So next tip will be 29 through 32. So we'll put a project in to get some work done on there. Most likely it'll probably be the Ridge Avenue. We'll put in there for the MPO. Here's the list of local streets that need to be repaired. Number 2, the PASA rating is poor. We're working on some engineering with Bayberry. Not so much design or construction engineering for that project. We're working with the engineer to put together RFP to go out for bids on that so we can put together more specific of what we're looking for to have done, so everybody, when they bid on it, we're comparing apples to apples. We have a couple dead end or gravel streets in there, Roosevelt and 5th Street. Those are dirt streets. I'm not sure, it depends on what the Bayberry comes in and whether we'll move forward with those. Next fiscal year, we have Mohawk to the dead end, and we have Cherokee to replace that South Holiday Hills. The Public Works Supervisor has done a nice job of putting these together so a certain section of the city can be done all at one time. So, for instance, we have South Holiday Hills next year and the following year, and then we go down to 2029, and we have the Lakeview area. And then these are the roads that are in fairly good condition. And you can see by the year that he anticipates work being done, 2020, 35, 2037, 2020, 43. This is the millage regarding the street millage that we just previously talked about. Here's the building permits that were issued in 2025. We had 17 building permits issued. 16 of those permits were for the Stillwater development. Here's anticipated projected cost for the sanitary sewer system. Perrysburg's at $249,000. On the bottom line, you see for last year it was about $246,000, so it's been pretty stable in the cost for sanitary sewer. Here is the water and sewer, what we're proposing. For the top 2025, 26, the rate surcharge for water is $19.95. We're projecting or showing down here so up in here we have $19.95 for water and rate to surcharge. We're proposing to go up to $21.35, which is a 7.7% increase, $1.40 a quarter. For the sanitary sewer, we're at $81.68 for a rate to surcharge. We're proposing to drop that down to $79.65, a 3% increase, $2.03 a quarter change. We're proposing the water per cubic meter right now is 77 cents per cubic meter. We're proposing to raise it a nickel to 0.84. That's an 8% increase. And then the sanitary sewer will remain the same at 99 cents a cubic meter. So for a typical water and sewer customer with a family of 4, it'd be about $9 a quarter extra, or $36 a year. For water only, since they don't have the sewer reduction, it would be about a 4% increase over the next year. The reason we're going to increase the water rate a little bit and the rate to surcharge, if you look at the last year's audit statement, we're showing that we were at an operating loss in the water fund.
Yes.
Do these increase actually cover our increased cost?
There's really no increase in cost. The water now is going to look at the water rate for 26, 27 at their meeting in May. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with how much the wholesale rate's going to change for currently.
My point is, we can increase it infinite, small, but if we're still losing money on the product, we may have to revisit that. Because you said we were running in a deficit, correct?
That's correct. Operating loss.
We can't run in a deficit.
Part of that operating loss was due to depreciation, which is non-cash.
So we have a good balance that reserved in the water and sewer funds?
The sewer fund is doing really well. There's over $1 million cash in there. The water fund, the sewer fund has a little over $1 million. The water fund is about 350,000. And so we increased the water rate a little bit last year, the rate to surcharge, and that's trending as increase in our cash flow in the water department this year.
So I guess my question to you is, if we have a major water line malfunction, do we have money to cover it?
Depending on how major it is, if there was a major that's more than what the water fund can handle, we would have to take a loan out maybe from the sewer fund or general fund to pay for it and pay it back.
All our lift stations are updated at this point, correct?
Yes, they were all updated in 2018. And then we're working on doing some upgrades to lift station 1 with Spring Lake Township at this time.
Can I ask a question? What's our depreciation expense for the water department?
Don't quote me, it was around 60 or 80,000 right in that area.
And any deficit, Craig, comes out of the fund balance,
Yeah, well,
essentially.
yeah.
Except you said that the deficit this past year was based upon depreciation expense,
It was an operating loss, yes, correct.
the operating loss.
Your Honor. Craig, who absorbs the loss for leakage? I know we've had several water main issues from the road to homes because when they installed the blue pipe that feeds our homes, it was defective, and there's a lot of water mains in this city that are leaking and just wasting water. I know my mom's was leaking for months. Her front yard was just slosh, mine leaked for I don't know how long, but I had a swimming pool under my house. Who absorbs those losses?
It's a city cost. So anything that's before the meter is going to be a city cost. When you fight a fire, that's a city cost. And so the typical acceptable water loss is 10%, and we're right in that area.
Okay.
Yeah, I had an issue with the pipes, but it was from the curb to my house. I paid for that.
Yeah.
Anything
That's
that's
what they told me.
between the road right away and the house is just.
Yeah,
the
that was on
homeowner's
me.
responsibility.
Yeah.
But before the meter, that's the city loss.
Yeah.
If it's leaking in your yard before the meter, then the city is.
If it's between the road right away and the meter, it's still the property owner's
Yeah,
responsibility.
property.
Right, to replace the line, but I'm talking about the water loss. If you have a leak.
Oh, correct, yeah,
The
yeah.
city's absorbing those costs, the water loss.
Correct,
Correct.
yeah. Chart shows that the Spring Lake Ferrisburg Police Pension, even though that police department is dissolved, we're still responsible for the funding the pension. For 2023, we were at 77%. For end of 2024, we're at 78%. 2023, the cost was $7,800. Beginning July 1st of 2026, the cost per month is going to go up to $91.61, and that dollar amount is split 50-50 between the Village of Spring Lake and Ferrisburg. This is the city's defined benefit plan. In 2023, we're at 80%. our liabilities was 618,000. And at end of 2024, we are 78%, and our liability increased about $100,000. Talking to MERS, they indicated that their assumptions changed a little bit, and there were some changes that recalculated, so that's how the percentage went down funded. We did put some extra money into about $50,000 extra above and what would be what's required onto the defined benefit plan. Going back a previous slide, the Spring Lake Ferrisburg Police Department, Spring Lake Village, and Ferrisburg were proposing that we do $75,000 each above what's required onto their pension.
I have a quick question. Are new hires automatically enrolled in the defined benefit plan, or is that gone now?
That is gone. In 2014, we changed to defined contribution.
Okay.
And so here, we're currently paying $7,100 a month with an increase in liability and the fundage. The new amount is $9,000, and we're still proposing to do an extra $50,000 on top of that.
Connor,
Yes.
what percentage are we at? We're within the MERS guidelines?
Yeah, 78% is fairly good. Anything under 60, then the state gets involved.
On both the city and the police one?
What was the police? Yeah, 78% for both.
So we're good there?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Proposed wage increase, we're proposing a 2.7% COLA increase and then a 0.5% wage increase. So it'll be about a 3.2% overall proposed wage increase. Last year, we increased the DPW on call by $25. We're proposing to increase that by another $25. Eyewear, currently the reimbursement is $300. That has been changed in many years. So we're proposing that increase by $100 per person. And then we're proposing to do a code enforcer. We've been talking with Spring Lake Village. They want to hire a code enforcer. And so if we jointly hire a part-timer, there would be a split 50-50 cost on the code enforcer. It'd probably be sometime mid-April to 1st of October, somewhere in there.
What would the code enforcer do?
They would enforce the city codes or zoning codes that are through the city.
So they'd be the ones sending letters to people and then appearing in court if we take them to court?
That's correct. So typically we see a violation, we send a letter, and then a little bit later we send a second letter if it doesn't get done, and then we do that citation if necessary. But we try to get compliance through the notification of letters. So this code enforcer will take care of that and then be able to follow up a little more timely on the second and third notice.
Will the individual also be surveying the city, looking for infractions, as the website says we do right now?
That is the goal, yes. And then we come to Public Act 152, which is how much the employer can pay for health care. Last year, at the end of the year, the legislators proposed some increases in the hard cap. That bill never got sent to the governor. Now it's at the Supreme Court. We're not sure whether it's going to be signed by the governor for the new amounts. So right now for 2025, the employer can pay the $7,700 for two persons, $16,000, a family $21,000. For the increase for 2026, we proposed the hard cap went up 2.9%. So from $7,700, it went to $7,900. If the bill is signed by the governor, that $7,700 would go up to $9,100, and in 2027, it'll go up to $10,000. So you can see there's quite a big jump in the hard cap of what an employer could pay for health care for employees. There was some concern by some units of government and schools that The amount that's being increased is going to be a cost to the employer, and they can't afford that. So I'm not sure what's going to happen, whether that gets signed or not, or if we stay at the current hard cap. So then there's three options for the employer. We can limit stay with the hard cap, or we can have the employee pay 20%, or we can exempt the employer by a 2/3 majority vote of city council. So we'll put this on a future city council agenda for your consideration. And this is the chart that shows the increases over the years: 2.53, 3.2, 2.93. So that's how much an employer can increase their cost. And health and care goes up a lot more than those percentages in the calculation. So going through the calculation for the city has 4 employers on the single, 3 on double, 1 on family. So our cap is $103,000. Right now, the employers are paying 15%. So the employer is paying $119,000. This is our hard cap. So we're $16,700 over the hard cap at this time, based on amounts for 26, 27. That's all I have for questions.
You talked about Spring Lake sharing their CPR machine. Have you heard from the chief or from Spring Lake about the attenuator truck at all? Any ideas regarding that? The attenuator truck that
we haven't done anything with it
haven't
yet.
heard anything about that yet. Okay. Okay. Any questions for Craig regarding that at all? Okay, let's move on to 7G work session, Bird City, USA. Staff, you want to fill us in on this one?
We got contacted by Mr. Ostrow to participate as a Bird City of the USA. Grand Haven City last month, they agreed to do that. They've contacted Spring Lake Village. They're reviewing it at this time. There's a number of items that the city is required to do to qualify to be a Bird City USA. Those items are listed in your packet. I think there's 6 items that the city is required to do to qualify for being a Bird City USA. This item is on the agenda for City Council to direct staff whether to move forward or not with implementing Bird City USA.
Craig, well, do we know that the Michigan Audubon will allow us to apply as a Tri-Cities and not as an individual municipality?
According to Mr. Ostrow, yes.
And so this, they're gonna cover the $200 fee, right?
That's correct.
Is this something we have, like an intern or someone can work on? I think a lot of it's done with Kitchell Linquist and Rack.
We could probably get the Dune Preserve Board is looking to hire an intern for the summer. I'm not sure how many hours are being proposed at this time. Typically, last year and this year, we're offering $6,000. And so the Dune Preserve Board expects a number of hours to get that $6,000 based using for Dune Preserve work. So anything that would be City Hall work, like Bird City USA, would probably be a city expense.
Probably be a good opportunity. Intern.
Yeah, sure. I think once we get the program up and running, then staff could probably take over on it.
Anyone else have anything on regarding Bird City, USA?
Your Honor?
Yes.
I like birds. I've got a feeder. My wife and I like watching birds. But I never believed anybody could write this many words about birds. Really?
I'm with Bill. I don't, a lot of
Come
these
on.
things just seem,
I like Tree City, but Bird City?
a lot of these things seem like we're gonna have to expend a significant amount of effort to do. And I just wonder what the staffing impact is to control invasive species. Like, how do we demonstrate that? How are we going to provide nesting habitat? How do we ensure clean water in our natural waterways? People wouldn't even swim in Smith's Bayou, last summer. I don't, how are we going to be evaluated on these things? And what are we expected to do?
And so Craig, I believe we just pick a certain number of these. We don't need to do all of that. Is that your
That's my
assessment?
understanding. We have to pick 6 items and verify and qualify how it's being done and when
So
it's being done.
It's similar to Tree City. Of all these tasks, we pick 6 and we submit them every year and say we still have an ordinance that promotes, pollinators or whatever. So it's not, it can be work. It's however far we want to take it. And the idea would be providing a member from Ferrisburgh to participate on that Tri-Cities Council, correct?
That's correct.
It will be that council committee. Much of this. Obviously, proposing ordinances and things like that would need to be.
So that would be something you either have to advertise for that position or appoint someone from city council to that committee. There is going to be some time involved in getting this going.
Yes.
I'm with Bill.
Understood.
I like birds. I feed a lot of birds. I even like the geese occasionally. But, this just seems like it's a little bit over the top to have a bird city, I guess,
Agreed. Anyone else?
Let's
Well, I
move
don't see
on.
the harm in it. I like birds.
I like birds too, but
That was
who's,
my thought, Deb. Is
I
I
like
don't see the
birds.
harm in
I
it.
don't see the
The-
harm in
The
it at all.
website promotes a
Yeah.
lot of tourism aspect of.
Yeah, and
bird
we're all big
watching.
about our parks and our
Bug City.
natural places, so yeah, it all kind of goes hand in hand.
Yeah, I kind of felt
Squirrel
the same way.
City.
It's a lot about birds, but I don't think it hurts.
I think we should go
What-
with it.
Will, what's the rec commission's sentiment on this? They for it?
This hasn't come to the rec commission that I know of.
no.
It would be a separate, because it's proposed as a Tri-Cities thing, the gentleman that proposed this offered to pay our annual dues for it. It's $200 a year. He offered to pay for that.
Yeah, so
we would just
what's
have
the
to-
harm?
We'd have to build a Tri-Cities committee where Ferrisburgh would have to provide a member. That'd be separate from the recreation.
Okay. Gotcha.
Staff, you have enough to run on?
So it seems like the consensus to move forward for first year. Is that what I'm hearing? I hear
I
kind
mean,
of
as
both.
long as it's, I wouldn't say it's a huge priority, but if staff has the time,
I mean, if he's paying, this guy's paying for the fee,
But there's still time and staff time to implement this, it could take 6, 8 hours.
yeah.
Your Honor?
Yes.
You just told us that staff was overworked and we had to hire a part-time person. That was what, 2 meetings ago or 3 meetings ago, and now you're gonna put more load on staff? Yeah, like I say, I like birds, but I think this is, over the top.
We don't have, I mean, there's nothing that we have to do or say, correct?
Unless you want to volunteer to be on the committee.
Put her on it.
I hear a
Somebody wants to
volunteer down there.
babysit my husband, I'll do it.
I don't feel strongly about it, but I'm not opposed to it. I'm
Well,
just,
It's Tri-City,
That's what their proposal is, yes.
so it's not just Ferrisburgh.
Grand Haven has said yes. Spring Lake Village hasn't looked at it yet.
I think we should just go with it and see what happens.
yeah, again, we're checking the box for a Tri-Cities, so it doesn't even have to come from Ferrisburgh necessarily. I'd support it. I don't think it's gonna be a huge drain on city resources.
So we want to advertise for this
Pursue
position
it.
from a resident?
I think we need to figure out what their plan is first, but if that's the next step.
I didn't know if you want to, and then when it comes time to that, if we want to advertise for a position or we want to have city council appoint somebody from council.
That's up to the mayor. You want to appoint someone?
I'll volunteer.
All right. As long as Jerry's volunteering, I'm for it.
Moving on to a 7H work session, 4th of July. Staff and Debbie. To share with
This
her.
Councilmember Sias.
Oh, Jerry.
Jerry.
Yeah. Well, as you know, Ferrisburg's been doing a lot of talk about bringing amenities and new businesses into Ferrisburg. Well, this is a way, I think, to support and to recognize Ferrisburg as a business-friendly community. This will give businesses a way to support themselves throughout the year. A lot of festivals bring in enough revenue in small towns to feed a lot of businesses for most of the year. And I think we could accomplish something like that in Ferrisburg with a 4th of July committee. I worked with the beautification committee and trying to strengthen our 4th of July and grow the 4th of July parade. And I've talked to a lot of residents in the city and come up with a lot of good ideas of events and things that we could do during the week of the 4th of July. Everything from cross-country race to food competitions to even a beer tent to open up the festivities. I would like this committee not to be a nuisance on the residents or on the community as far as funding. I would like them to be able to raise their own revenue, and so we're not relying on the city to fund our activities. I guess where I'm at right now is I just need permission from the council to move forward with this and to start a committee so we can begin the process of creating bylaws and move forward with it. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Yes.
I would support it.
How much time are you gonna have? It's mid-March and it's only about 3 or 4 months away. Is it for next year?
Yeah. I don't think we'll have a lot this year. I think this year will be mostly administrative and planning. Maybe we can have a few events. I've talked to a few people in town that would volunteer to do something this year if often a timely manner.
The Beautification Commission is willing only to do the work for the parade and the 4th of July picnic. That's all we can handle. And so we are extending, because it's 250th, we are going to do a costume contest and also a house decorating contest with prizes. Both will give prizes. That's all we can do. We have our hands full. That picnic is a lot. It's a lot of work, and we don't know how our volunteers are going to be this year. We've lost some volunteers. So that's all. So whatever Jerry wants to do, we support him, but we can't physically take on any more.
Yeah, this would be a separate committee totally from the beautifications committee, but we would work together.
Yeah. They immediately said, we can't take any more work. Immediately. But yeah, we would be welcoming to Jerry if he comes up with some other, we would definitely be supportive. Yeah, for sure.
Anyone else at council have any thoughts?
What kind of, is this gonna be a citizens committee? I mean,
Yeah, that's how I picture it. Probably, I would think to start, I would like to see a 5-person committee with a representative from city council, just to create the bylaws to begin with, so we can present them to city council for approval. Once we get our bylaws approved, then we can move forward with planning events and going from there. And of course, council will have to approve those as well, I would think, so.
Craig, how does that work? Do we need bylaws before we can establish the committee, or?
No, the committee would establish their bylaws and bring them to city council for approval.
So what will the next step be? Just posting, we need 5 members from the community? So we're gonna start advertising for Board of Commission openings April 1st. So Jerry, you wanna send me a kind of a draft of what you're looking for, qualifications and items to do? We'll include that in the ad.
Yep, yeah, I can get that to you before the end of the week, Greg.
Well, there definitely is a huge need for it here because we're the 4th of July city in the Tri-Cities. Essentially what's happening. It's an interesting opportunity. Anyone else have anything regarding 4th of July? Reports? Craig?
I'm good.
You're good? No report?
No report.
Okay, very good. City council members?
We have public comments, Mr. Mayor?
Oh, that's right. I apologize. Public comment?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Nicole Larabelle, 16814. My husband and I were talking about the 4th of July, and I just had a couple ideas. Mike had mentioned softball before. Thought it'd be fun to have a sign-up sheet at City Hall for 2 softball teams, and people could just sign up to play. And then there could be a 4th of July softball game. Another idea we had was if teams of 3 wanted to sign up to do 3-on-3 basketball in the gym, if somebody wanted to put that together. And then the idea that me and my husband wanted to put together was a public access poker run. So you get a card at each of the public accesses in the overlay, and because we don't have parking at the public accesses, it would be like biking and walking, you know, anybody that could come that way. And then you just get a card at each public access and make a poker hand at the end for the winner. And then there was a former Smiths Bayou resident that used to have a fishing tournament. And I thought that was kind of a fun idea too. Maybe like a prize for the best fish, you know, like best fish from land fishing, best fish from boat fishing. So that was just a few ideas we had for 4th of July. And then the Bird City thing, we've had a falcon that hasn't had a home since the power plant got torn down. And if we do get a new cell phone tower, it'd be a great place for a falcon nest because it would be tall enough. And Spring Lake has a eagle camera. And one of the things that Bird City said was, you know, cameras for bird nests. So maybe there could be a falcon camera or the Vites Landing eagles. And then lastly, the splash pad. I've been reading the master plan a lot, and one of the numbers that was very surprising to me was that only 8% of Ferrysburg residents are under 9 years old. So that comes out to 240 kids under 9. And if you take, Montgomery said the splash pad could be double or triple the 350 that we were talking about before. So if you took 700,000 for a splash pad and you divided that by 240 kids, it comes about $2,900 a kid. And they have interactive fountains that are, you know, fun for all ages. I know my grandparents used to drive down to the channel and watch the water, you know, so I know we have a lot of older residents, and maybe an interactive fountain that sprays water up that kids could play in, you know, it could be fun for all ages.
Thank you, Nicole. Great thoughts.
Your Honor?
Yes.
Nicole, would you and Skip be interested in serving on Mr. Sias's 4th of July thing?
I have to talk to him.
Oh, there you go. You got a contact. You got your first member.
All right.
And I apologize about skipping out on public. Craig, city
No.
manager's report.
No report?
Very good. Mr. Cook.
3 comments, maybe a question. The packet was not scanned with OCR tonight. It has been in the past. That's something I've really enjoyed. If that could just be done again, I would greatly appreciate it. Another thing we had talked about, I think in the last meeting, was release of the website RFP. Has that been released yet, or is staff still working on that?
We're currently waiting to hear back. We're having it reviewed by IT, and then we'll be moving forward.
Thank you. The last one is, there were 3 city council requests made by Nicole tonight, and they are requesting action prior to a meeting that's scheduled in 17 days. And that meeting has a 15-day, as I understand it, notice period. So one of my thoughts and questions is putting this on the next council agenda too late to address the citizen request and concerns?
It's in motion already. So the public notices all went out today, and they'll be published in the paper on Wednesday. They'll be posted on the website probably tomorrow. And so each public hearing notice is separate, so each item will be a separate agenda item on the agenda.
Are the tables in there as well that were suggested, comparing existing to the future proposed ordinance?
There's our tables and public hearing notices, yes.
Thank you. End of report.
Jerry?
Board of Review met last week, all went well. We had 0 poverty exemption applications, unfortunately. But I'm not sure if the community really got the word. Job of it, conveying that information to the community. So maybe next year, if we follow suit with that, we could do a little bit more PR on that.
March 26th, we are meeting here to stuff the eggs for the Easter egg hunt. Anybody that would like to come at 1 o'clock, we'll be here stuffing eggs. April 4th is the Easter egg hunt at 11 o'clock for the 3 age groups, so hopefully everybody can come for that. We are in process of the 4th of July. I think we're doing pretty well. We've got things lined up. We've got the Daughters of the American Revolution coming in their costume. It's going to be nice. I'm sure it's going to be nice. So that's where we're at, and I think we're fine. I just can't get over this. I need to bring this back. I need to revisit Will. I just feel bad that we are not going to do the grant. I just wonder if you could tear it down, get the new picnic pavilion with the picnic tables, the connecting concrete walkway, and the signage, and skip the pickleball. Could you do that?
The connecting pathway would be to the pickleball courts. We could certainly do it. I don't know that it would even be worth submitting a grant for. Do you, Craig?
Pavilion? No?
I think it was, what, 15 grand or something?
100,000.
Oh, was it 100,000? Okay. Yeah, we can certainly.
I would feel really better.
We can certainly look into it. Again, it's not going to happen this year.
Right.
Well,
But if you could get that,
so
and put
it-
that in
yeah, I mean,
without pickleball.
we could apply for a grant next year for that. I'll take that back to the rec commission and,
Yeah, I just
they
feel
can
bad
discuss.
that went down.
And then, yeah, we could look into the pavilion in 20. So, yeah.
But when does the rec commission meet?
3rd week of the month.
This
But we
Thursday.
need council to approve.
Well, we could call a special meeting if,
Sure.
if
Yep.
you guys are
Yeah.
willing to amend that.
Yeah.
I'd be willing to come in and
Yes, me
discuss
too.
it.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
feel
we'll
bad
bring
that
that
it
back.
got shut down total.
Okay, Craig, you're good with that? We'll take that back to the rec and see if they're on board with it and call a special meeting.
We can do that. Yeah, I'd be on board with a special meeting.
I am now.
Okay. Williamson. Report?
Yeah, we're disconnected this week, or the past week. We welcomed a new baby girl last week's. But that's it. End of report.
Congratulations.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Good. Groundbreaking for the new harbor transit facility will be next Wednesday at 1:30.
Unawaited.
Yeah. End of report.
Craig, we got an email from Brian motel.
Yes.
What's being done to address this?
I advise him if he has an issue with electronic noise to contact the sheriff's department.
But if we have an ordinance preventing that?
Yes, we do.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
And no report from the mayor.
Motion to re,
Yeah, we'll see you. Thank you.